What's up guys, this is Sean and welcome back to the Iherng podcast, and today we will answer a question from email. This is from V. Hey Sean, thank you for taking the time to do this. I'm sure your insights will not only help me but also motivate many young people who are curious about property investing. My name is V. I'm 20 years old. What? And currently a second year accounting student. I study full-time, 9 to 5, Monday to Friday. But outside class, I run a small social media agency and do freelance videography, which earns me about 3,500 monthly. Ever since my SPM days, I've been passionate about property investing. I've spent the past year learning through your YouTube videos and online courses to build my foundation, knowing that I couldn't buy yet but wanting to prepare early. By the time I graduate in mid-2027, my goal is to have a stable 5,000 money income from my agency and at least 10,000 in savings, a small base to begin my property journey. Right now, I'm a bit unsure how to move from learning about property to actually starting. I understand basic strategies, but I want to make sure I take the right steps over the next few years before my first purchase. Here are my questions. Number 1. If you could go back to your early 20s, what would you do financially and mentally to prepare before buying your first property? Number 2. What's the most common mistake young investors make because they think they know enough? Number 3. What's the best way to find genuine mentors or network of real investors, not just the fake online gurus? Number 4. If you were in my position, with a social media agency as the main income source, what would you start doing today to prepare your first property deal? Lastly, any extra advice you'd give to someone like me who wants to build a solid foundation early and grow into a serious property investor would mean a lot. Thank you again for your time, Sean. I really appreciate it. Lama, 20 tahun already earning 3,500 per month on your own agency. And because of that, thank you very much for sharing, Mr. V. This, I think, can surely help a lot of young students or young Malaysians. Because personally, I do think in Malaysia, we are sitting on a lot of opportunities. And I've always told this to my team. In Malaysia, we just merely need to be hardworking. We don't even need to be the best in the industry, you know. We just need to be hardworking, be punctual, be responsible, be accountable. We will be the top 20 already. And your story demonstrates that. So thank you very much. The goal here is to have 5,000 monthly income from your agency and 10,000 in savings by mid-2027 when you graduate, which is another 1 more year lah, right? Another 2 more years. 2026, 2027. Solid. To me, I have full confidence in you. But just to have a little bit of tweaking, which is like question number 1 already, let's just address the question. If you could go back to your early 20s, what would you do financially and mentally to prepare before buying your first property? I would repeat whatever that I've done, which is, you guys know how I started my property journey, right? Okay. So during 16 to 17, because Taman Sri Muda was flooded, that's why I call it Taman Sri Banjir. Then I was sent to my aunt's house. So for a week or 2, then I've started working in her tuition center, teaching Kumon. And since then, every holiday, I will go there and work because I got extra money, man. Then always got free food. So every time when I go there, eventually when I graduated, I've worked there for a while, stayed with her for a while. And during day offs, there's one activity that we always do, which is to drive around Sungai Buloh factories and collect checks from tenants of the factories. Every time we go out, hey Sean, go down, go and collect check. Then I go down, collect check. The first month, second month, third month, fourth month. Then eventually when you start collecting so many, right? A very innocent question that today when I asked her, she couldn't even remember. I vividly have that image in my brain. I've asked her, dear aunt, why do they pay you every month? What are they paying for? Then innocently, she just to blow off a 17-year-old or 19-year-old kid, right? Yeah, she's paying for space lah. Yeah, ask so many questions. Let's go eat chicken rice. That stuck in my brain, like to a 19-year-old, I think. What does space mean? And this thought stuck with me until today. What is space and what defines the value of space? Why are some space worth millions, why are some space worth nothing? Then why would anybody pay rent that is so high to be in a certain location? Then why some units, right, when I give you also you don't want? What is it? And what's about this space that is so unique that banks are willing to give people loan just to buy it? It's a wealth generating tool for ages and countries or government fight, go to war just to have more space. That's where I got so obsessed. I went to become an agent. So I started selling properties, trying to understand why people want to sell, why would people want to buy, how do they make money. But I couldn't understand enough. Then I studied architecture to go from the initial stage, from a land of nothing, and design and build into something. That's why I even joined the development office. Then I even do marketing. Then I joined the makeover guys, and everything since that question revolved around real estate, which is still space. So in your question, the keyword here, the thing to prepare before buying your first property. That is the entire ethos of why I created this channel. Back then, when I was buying my first property, the only line that everybody gave me is, hey, you just prepare 10% can already, then you can buy. As mentioned, I went to my property, which is like 300,000 at that time. I merely have 30,000 in the bank. I thought I can buy already. The mistake is I paid 100% of my savings as the down payment, finished already. Then suddenly I start receiving letters from banks, valuers, agents, more lawyers, and I start wondering, like, who told me that it's only 10%? Then you start adding together. The worst thing about sub-sale, the transaction process is just too long until you lose track of what you're paying already. You start keeping track. Okay, this one I pay, this one I pay, this one I pay until like, who am I paying already? Which lawyer am I paying? The buyer one, the seller one, the bank's one? Then only end up with a rough estimation of 17 to 18%. That's the total amount of cash of the property that you must have to pay just to complete the transaction of ownership for a sub-sale property. And back then, nobody tells me about what's installment and how are you going to rent out, what's your game plan, what's your strategy. Nothing. Just to think back, right, it's mostly because of my age lah. 22 years old, 23, you try to be a grown-up, then you buy, let him 撞板啦. In Chinese saying, right, let him hit the wall, he will learn. But that is something that you will face eventually. Like, why do you need to commit to a property in such a young age? I think that one we can cover in question 2. But here, I think whatever that you follow in the channel, like, just to run through lah, what do you need to have to be in the preparation? Number 1, 6 months emergency fund. That's why when you set like 5,000 income and savings of 10,000, I would argue the 10,000 is not enough. I would argue to go even 30,000. And now the new guideline, the Sean's guideline for a property, like when you want to buy, it revolves 50,000 just to fully furnish the unit later after you get the keys, and it includes 6 months of installment payment in case the unit is empty. That's the metric of affordability in my perspective. For example, if you want to buy a property at 500,000, let's say 0 down payment, 10% discount, rebate and all, right? And the project will be completed in 3 to 4 years time. I still think that it's very, very important to have that 50,000 plus 6 months installment. How do you get 50,000? That's the rough estimation. If it costs less than that, then save lor. But in 3 to 4 years time, I don't think so. That's going to be the baseline already. Because just to fully furnish aircon, kitchen cabinet, hot water, grills, electrical appliances, curtains, basic furniture, almost there already for a 2-bedroom. You just think about it, right? Aircon is the worst. Then another level of safety buffer will be 6 months of installment. For a 5,000 property, it will be about 2250. Then you times 6 lor. So it's about 13,500, then you plus 50,000, so you need about 63,500 set aside, meaning you need to have this amount of savings when you collect the keys. Only then I consider you ready for the property. On top of that, personally, you need to have 6 months of emergency fund. You need to have insurance, like medical card, never be a burden to our loved ones. The last one will be a clear career path. Once you have all these, then I think you're good to go. And based on your email, if you really watch through the channel, you will understand this 100%. The only part for you when you just graduated, let's say at 22, right? If I am 22 again, at this current junction, with the knowledge that I have, will I still buy a property? It's not going to be my main priority already, because I've always said this, and I think it's a bit on a broken record already, but never mind. After investing for more than 10 years, right, I realized property investment is to keep us rich, not to make us rich. It's an investment tool for us to park our money in so it hedge against inflation. That's also because back then, during my days when I was 22, I buy my first property. There was not much investment option. There was no e-broking lah, there was no mobile trading lah, no Bitcoin lah. You literally need to call your remisier to buy stocks lah. Gold also was like that. Forex was illegal. That's why property was one of the most direct thing. And back then, I was working in a career, corporate. My dream, my goal was to be a MD in a development company. That's why my entire learning curve revolves around everything real estate, because I was working very, very hard towards being an MD of a property development company. But that one tak jadi lah. But now in your case, when you have your own social media agency, I would suggest to not prioritize property investment first. Why? Flexibility needs to be a priority. Active income needs to be a priority. As mentioned, property investment is to keep us rich, means you need to be rich first. Instead of focusing on what properties to buy, how to leverage and involve and whatever, right? You can study all you want, like you mentioned, correct. Ultimately, once you buy your first one, you will understand almost 80% of what I say already. Right? Therefore, instead of focusing on these, I would suggest to focus more on scaling up your business. Instead of 3,005, how do I double that? Because after doubling, then you might involve tax already. Then are you doing this on a sole prop, or you're doing this on a Sendirian Berhad? Then are you going to hire people? How are you going to leverage on AI? How are you going to build on Web3 and things like that? That needs to be a bigger priority instead of how to diversify your money. You know what I mean? Because in 10 years time, moving forward, right, I do think you will make more money building a media business. Speaking from experience, eventually business will make more money than investment one, no matter what investment you do lah. Until you are ready to a level where you start paying yourself 5,000 and the company is making about 50 to 100,000 a year, hey, maybe I can start diversifying your wealth, because you already have wealth to begin with. Get it? And it's always good to compare against Bitcoin, against gold, against S&P 500, against Nasdaq, against other asset class. At a young stage, I wouldn't agree too much on investing in properties, because property has this major problem: lack of liquidity. Anytime you need money, is not going to help you. So it means you need to be able to build a profile where you have enough savings. You won't depend on the property as a last resort or emergency fund. Cannot one. Like why a lot of people like watches, why a lot of people like gold, because any moment of time you can sell and immediately cash out that asset. Property cannot. Even if you lay long, also cannot. So that is going to be a major problem during a stage where you need flexibility the most. Question number 2. What's the most common mistake young investors make because they think they know enough? I think that expectation that property will make money fast. Yeah, so I've been a young person before also, right? And everything we want fast, especially money and returns fast. But I think for audiences who are watching the channel, they already know this very well. But let me share something that I've just realized or learned or understood lately. Always audit the person giving you the story or advice based on their lifestyle. If that person is not living the lifestyle that you want, stay away. That's mainly because we all have very different belief system. And belief system is dictated by what we see, what we hear, the stories we listen to, and that eventually forge the reality that we think we are in. And after speaking to so many people about properties, like throughout this channel, right, it's already 8 years. So many people tell me cannot make money, but a lot of people also tell me they made a lot of money. Every year we will have this same conversation, market good or not, some say good, some say bad. Conclusion, everybody is right based on their perspective. Because at this current point, I'm rather confident to say that not many people will have a property portfolio of my size already within my family setting. Therefore, whenever friends or family comes to me saying that property can buy me, won't lose money me, I'm biased already. because I've done it. And most of the time, these will follow up by the complaints of their parents. Where God, my one lose money lah, my one lose money. And when you really go deep down into their story, sure got problem one. When they buy, they follow friends' advice lah, they didn't check median lah, they are not renting the unit out lah, they could good on their renovation lah, they want to do themselves lah, they just leave it empty lah, they expect the tenant to do everything lah, very entitled, why government didn't build the road lah. Sure got something wrong one. But again, family and friends a bit rude to correct them out. So okay lah, you're right lor. And that is also the rest of the market, besides audience who are listening to me right now. So everybody's right in their version of their story, but let's look at reality. Okay, there's no argument towards numbers. 20% of the population will own 80% of wealth, which also means 80% of population is sharing that 20% of world's wealth. Eventually, it's easier to bump into the 80% than the 20% of elite who made it. So in terms of mistakes, I think I've covered enough in the channel, but what I want to address here is the stage of they think they know enough. This is where I'm very grateful because I'm in the Makeover Guys ecosystem. I got to know Rina, I got to know Faizul from Far Capital. Then only you will feel very small. For example, whenever we talk about, hey, this unit, hey, we buy together, okay, I buy one unit lah, you buy one unit, I buy one unit. Okay, I commit one unit. No, Sean, why are you wasting time? That's their feedback. Like, why? Oh, I thought my boss is buying one floor. We follow, you follow ma, right? You follow, you also buy one floor. People are buying 4 units, 8 units, or sometimes a floor at a time. But these stories are not accessible to anyone else because these are super sensitive, super private information. It's easier to know that property cannot buy one lah. You look into the bubble, your uncle Tan that one lose so much money That uncle Sean now every month bleeding because the rent only 1,000 Every month you need to pay the bank the difference Those kind of story are more popular and everybody like to harp on it because they all face the same issue. People who really make money you think they will go and share everywhere. Oh, I got a lot of property, I make a lot of money. You won't one ma. That's why I'm doing my best now in conducting more community events or I'm hosting more physical talks. So among the community, you guys will start to know that this very lonely journey can be less lonely. Because the fact is, by saying out loud, I want to be a successful property investor, a lot of cold water will be splashed towards your face already. Especially by our families lah, our parents lah, our friends lah. Everybody will start throwing water. Cannot one lah, you don't even think about it lah. You think so easy meh? If so easy until your turn meh? So how? The trick is to find that community lah. That's why we are all here lah. We all need to learn from each other lah. And that indirectly answered your question 3 lah. What's the best way to find genuine mentors or networks of real investors? Everyone will have their own agendas. And how do I think about all the fake online gurus? It's only going to work on the ignorant ones. Like if you have absolutely no clue of what property is, the only thing that attracts you to them is all the money, a lot of profit, money. Then you will go into it lor. That's why when you combo ignorance and greed together, that perfect combo for disaster. Let's mention how to find genuine mentors or gurus, right? And this is going to be very tough because it's about time and money. Like for financial planners also, there's 2 types of financial planners. One is they earn money by pushing products to you. Then whenever like you tell me like your goal is like that, I'll recommend the products to you based on what you want to achieve. And when you subscribe to all of that, I get a commission from that. That is one type of financial planner. The other type is, okay, I want to make 6% per annum, okay? But my fee comes at this amount when you hit that number. And most of the time then, the financial planner's personal goal will be like 9. And when you hit your 6, the difference will be his earnings. So he's using his skill set, leveraging on your resources to earn his money. Very different scenarios. In property also like that, but it's way tougher to go on the second route. Let's say if you're successful in your property investment journey, what do I get? And it's a super long-term investment. In 30 years only, you will be very successful. I don't know whether I'm around or not, bro. So that is the main challenge. That is why a lot of investment gurus or whatever, right, choose the first route instead. You learn about property, You learn partially how to make money from it, then you pay membership to learn more, pay more to join secret groups, and eventually buy the products that I promote. Then they get a cut from it, then they use my panel of consultants, my renovation, my lawyer, my whatever, all their own people. Is it wrong to do so then? Well, looking at their sports cars and their outfit and their lifestyle, I think I'm the dumb one here lah. But I just came back from Foodie Media event and this is my best outfit. Therefore, I would strongly recommend whenever I have physical talks, whenever I have collaboration with other creators, then physical events are mainly, if possible, please do join them, because it's not mainly to see me. Because you can see me here on the YouTube channel, why you want to spend time, travel and sit there? Got free food lah, but you want to sit there, do nothing and wait for me to talk me, and eventually you can already estimate what I'm going to say. But the main thing is you guys can know each other, then exchange information, exchange experience. If it's your first time, it's also another person's first time. You guys can gabung the research work together, then you can double the effort ma. If not, it will be like me back then when I started. It's a very lonely journey. You go yourself, go see property yourself, then every time when people want to chill you out on weekends, not free, want to see property, you can buy me. Now you're independent, ready may buy for what lah? Then you just gotta resist all the temptation, remotivate yourself again and again and again and again. But when you have a gang of people, every weekend we go see property, that would be my ideal gang too. Or maybe I should do that. Maybe we can host like, this weekend, let's go to this sales gallery and we sama-sama sekali tengok rumah. Not bad And question 4, the last question. If you were in my position, a social media agency as the main income source, what would you start doing today to prepare yourself for your first property deal? Focus on building the foundation of the business, scale the business, brutally live beyond your means. It means now, when you start earning 3,500 as a student, you think you are very wealthy one. I will be very envious if I'm your classmate. Wow, 3,500 a month leh. You haven't even graduated yet. Like, wow, 3,500 feels a lot man. Then, because you earn 3,500, suddenly your lifestyle start matching that income. Then suddenly you feel like, 3,500 not enough because I got car lah. You look at my latest iPhone lah. This shirt not good enough lah. I need a logo here lah. I need some sneakers to match with my standard lah. Then suddenly 3,500 not enough already, 5,000 lor. But when you hit 5,000, the lifestyle component creeps in. Therefore, you will need an active conscious to make sure your lifestyle stays the same, way below your actual income. That's how you are going to make it. Because it's very easy to think that active income is going to solve everyone's problem. But even when you earn 20,000, you're spending 22, not enough one. So you see a lot of orang kaya raya online, now all their properties lah, their lifestyle elements were all kena auction one. And the thing is this, when you buy a lot of all those things at retail price, like the bags lah, the baju lah, the whatever, right? Just because you pay 1,000, it's not worth 1,000, when you auction off, it's like 100 only. So you lose a lot of money to temptation and the ego. The ego here is mainly to impress people that you don't even know. So you need to adopt a very active mindset of, why must you let people know you are rich or successful? What's the urge? Why so kanchiong want to impress people? Especially when you come to Raya time, Chinese New Year time, Deepavali time, right? Wow, I'm going to meet my relatives. I'm going to put up my most expensive watch, my best shirt to tell people I'm doing very well. Why? Isn't it better to stay humble as possible, as low profile as possible? Be a student of the environment instead. Isn't that more mindful? Last but not least, the extra advice that I would give would be that, and I would strongly suggest patience, right? You are already ahead of the curve. You're already ahead of your peers. That is the spirit, that should be your results, but don't let ego and lifestyle be that. Let's not pretend just because you are earning 3,500, your peers are still studying, right? You are better than them. Just because I'm earning more than you doesn't mean I'm a better human being compared to you. Because that will be the main thing that is going to be your kryptonite. Whenever your lecturer or whoever tells you to do things, right? Whoa, you're earning less than me now, you're giving me instruction. You serious? You don't even know what's going on in the real life. You want me to finish your work? Things like that, for example. Okay, for example. That would be the worst thing ever that can happen to you. Because now, if you just keep this fire, keep this passion, stay consistent, stay patient, you will do extremely well. Because you got accounting knowledge, it means it gives you access to the business world, you know insights about how operations are supposed to be done, then you already run your own business, you are into creativity yourself, then you will need to learn how to manage humans, but in videography you are already managing people, customer or your client. Then eventually you will start hiring people. All these are part of the journey and it will be very, very enjoyable until you need the money to fuel your lifestyle. Again, back to the same topic. A lot of people cannot get off their 9-to-5 corporate jobs because they cannot leave their work. They cannot afford to have zero income for more than 3 months time, for more than a month. A lot of people cannot even have the pay delayed by a week. That would be the main element that separates. When you have enough savings, it gives you better perspective of what value is. You can really pick and choose. You have more options in life and that eventually will lead to a better outcome. But when you keep wanting the money, you want to hit that target just because you want to buy this property and so that I can tell people I'm an early property investor at this young age, right? No point one. Then you start doing things that you don't like, start working with people that you don't like, and when business tightens and when the market softens a bit, right, then you suffer. What for? So remember, as your income grows in accordance to your experience, which I'm very, very confident, let's not make lifestyle grow together. 3,500 can drive Viva. 15,000 also can drive Viva one. Why must you upgrade? You already know the car is going to lose value across time anyway, right? And I guess that's all for today. Thank you very much, V, for sending in the email. I am very inspired. Knowing that somebody like you is listening on the other side and is doing great things like what you do right now, is way ahead of the peers and still seeking for advice, I absolutely love it. Thank you very much. And for those who are listening, if you have any question regarding real estate or property, do just email me at taniherng@gmail.com, or you can just DM me on Instagram, iherng, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Ciao!